A lot of people ask, what happens to all my property? What happens to my money? What happens to my investments? What happens to my accounts? The answer is simple. Every single case in Florida starts with a presumption of 50-50. Now, what does that mean? Because a lot of people have this misconception where, okay, we have two cars, I get one. And we got a house, I guess we're going to have to sell it and split it. And then this account will be divided in half. I'll get half the Bank of America account, half the Wells Fargo account. Is that how it works? No. That would be like me and you going to Pizza Hut, getting a large pizza with 8 slices. Rather than doing what people normally do in that situation, each slice of pizza represents the house, cars, cash, debt. So to do what people think, we would chop each slice into half slices, right? Half the house, half the cars, half the debt. You would get 8 half slices. I would get 8 half slices. It'd be super weird. We'd be on YouTube, TikTok, Insta, whatever the kids are using these days. So what we really do is what you and I would do at Pizza Hut. We take all of your assets, all of your accounts, your houses, properties, cars, boats, everything, retirements, 401ks, investments, and we put it into the pot, our large pizza, and we cut it in half, and you get half, and your spouse gets half. However, if they have voluntarily wasted money, if they have spent money on an affair, if they have just run up excessive debt for a non-marital purpose, such as going to the Hard Rock and gambling their money away, that's going to come out of their half and not yours. We call that unequal distribution. The courts are courts of equity, meaning that it's supposed to be fair. So if your spouse gets cute and puts all your stuff outside and it gets destroyed, well, guess what? We're looking for reimbursement. If they blow 20 grand at the Hard Rock or add $20,000 in credit card debt at the Hard Rock, that's their problem, not yours. A lot of people ask me, what is a marital asset? What is a non-marital asset? It's in my name. That means I keep it, right? It's in their name. What do? I didn't earn any of that money. Let me help. A marital asset is anything earned during the marriage. So take your wedding date and everything earned from that date to the filing of divorce date. It does not matter if it was earned through the husband or the wife. It does not matter if it was put in a joint account or a single account. It does not matter if a car is titled in the husband or the wife's name. It does not matter whose name's on any of the accounts. It does not matter that it was owned by a business. All that matters is when it was acquired. And if it was after the wedding date, it's marital. And if it was before the wedding date, it's non-marital. But it's not that straightforward. What about non-marital assets with a marital component? So let's say, for example, you bought a house. It's in your name and you never put your spouse on the deed. But you're paying mortgage payments during the marriage. So that is a non-marital home with a marital component, with the marital component being the principal pay down during the marriage, because you use marital money to pay down that non-marital asset. What if you add a pool? Well, that's called active appreciation. So using marital money to add a pool to that house would make that section active appreciation of the marital value. So again, the home's still non-marital. You're not going to lose it. The court cannot take it from you. But there is a marital component. Same thing with retirement accounts. All that matters is when they are earned and when they vest. If you earn a retirement account from your employment during the marriage, it is marital once it vests. If it hasn't vested, there's a much more complicated formula that people apply to determine the vested portion and where that should be assigned. A lot of people ask, how do we divide retirement accounts or pensions? Or what about military retirements? We do that through a quadro or MPDO. A lot of people are concerned that with a retirement account, if I have to cash it out just to give it to my spouse, I'm going to take a big tax hit. And they'd be right. So what we actually do is a quadro, a qualified domestic relations order that the judge signed that sends to your retirement provider. That provider will apply the formula from the quadro and split the account. So for example, if you have a single Fidelity account, there's now 2 Fidelity accounts, one in the one spouse's name and one in the other spouse's name. That way, if the person who received the money from Fidelity does something with it, The person who had the account originally is not liable for taxes. So for example, it's a completely separate account. They can keep the money there. They can roll it over. They can cash it out. They can borrow against it. It's just like as if they had a Fidelity account all along. The same is true with pensions. We do pension division orders, which the court sends to your pension provider, be that the military, federal, civilian, and they will do the calculation based on the dates provided to determine what the marital portion of the pension is, and then the other spouse would get half that portion. A lot of people will ask, how do I protect my home during a divorce? Rule number one, do not move out. I'm going to say it again. Do not move out. Possession goes a long, long way in divorce. The courts are highly unlikely to kick your spouse out. If you left your spouse and kids behind in the home, and now you're asking the judge to award you with that home, the odds are not in your favor. So whatever you do, do not move out. Further, make sure you keep the home up to date. Do the maintenance, do the repairs. Make sure that you are not letting the value of the asset depreciate just because you're concerned about losing it in a divorce. Even if you don't get that home, you want the value, if the other side gets it, to be as high as possible so you get cash or other equity in another asset to offset that net value from the home itself. But again, I really want to emphasize this. Do not move out. Absent domestic violence, it is extraordinarily difficult to have the court order the other spouse to move out. Forget everything you've seen on TV where this one spouse tells the other to pack your stuff and get out. They can tell you whatever they want, but they can't do anything about it. Your spouse cannot throw you out. Your spouse cannot lock you out. If they do, call a locksmith, call law enforcement, and go right back in. If you have a home, do everything you can to protect it. Call us at tampadivorce.com, tampadivorce.com, tampadivorce.com. We will protect your home, and we will fight to protect you.